there was a journey, and journey came to an end after 18 years of being married, 17 years of being married, because I felt stifled and I wanted to go out and be the king of curry. And I continued working on that, on doing the food shows in Top Chef and Master Chef and Dragon's Den and all those things, and continued working and building restaurants and empires of that style until it came to crashing last year.
Welcome to the Global Indian Podcast, home to the greatest conversations and the official platform for people of Indian origin. Yes, welcome back to your award-winning podcast, where every week we plunge into the human experience of being a person of Indian origin, take a second look at those countries we now call home, and tackle the big conversations we need to have. And this is our very special 50th episode. Yes, 50. It has gone by so quickly. 50 great conversations we brought to you from across the 50 shades of brown of our community. Now, in this episode, we travel to the freezer of the planet. Yes, that is Canada, to meet with a very special guest. Now, you would know him from the likes of Dragon's Den. You would know him for his gastronomy arts that have been seen on TV shows right the way across the globe. And the chances are you've been to his one of many famous restaurants across Vancouver. But I can guarantee you, you'll get to know a very different side to him on this very special podcast. Yes, we meet with Vikram Vij, the wonderful person he is, where we take a deep dive into relationships, COVID, and the life lessons he wants you to know more about. It is a remarkable, open conversation that I'm sure will lead you down to a beautiful path of self-discovery. Now, like always, I'd like to give a massive thank you to our dear supporters and sponsors, many of which you will hear from soon, and also throw out an invitation to you. Now, you are a global Indianite. You have been following these incredible journeys. Well, hey, why don't you get involved as well? Simply go to our website, www.globalindianseries.com, and submit your story. I'd love to have you here with us on this podcast. I truly hope you enjoy this remarkable session.
Hello, my name is Daniel Trassa, and I'm Dean of Nova School of Business and Economics in Carcavelos, Portugal, one of Europe's leading business schools. I'm proud to be of Indian origin, and I invite you to discover these podcasts, which will look to redefine the impact that Indians and their descendants are doing all over the world. In behalf of Nova School of Business and Economics, I wish you a great 2021.
My name is Chitra Stern, and I am a proud Global Indian Ambassador and CEO of Martinal Resorts and Martinal Residences. We pride ourselves on the journeys that define a community, and our developments bring people together. Did you know that over 70,000 people just like us call Portugal home? The Global Indian Journey has brought people together in a meaningful way, and on behalf of all of us at Martinal, we want to thank you for joining us in these remarkable conversations. We look forward to seeing you here in Lisbon post-COVID. Have a great day.
And just move. Get up 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 and just.
I think there's a huge turmoil of this aspect of what does it feel like to be me. So when Vikram goes for a walk on the seawall, he gets recognized. People say, "Come and take photographs with him." They want to, you feel like you've arrived. You feel great. But there are times when you come home and the mistakes that you've made. The errors that you've done. The people that you hurt, the people you've felt bad about. So there is this huge dichotomy of issues that come to your mind, because there's this persona of that Vikram Vij outside goes and is this, super nice and friendly and loving and chatty and everything else kind of a person. but then sometimes comes home and retreats and says, shit, I hurt this person, and I didn't do right to this person, and I didn't do right to that person, and I could have been nicer to this person. So there's this huge an argument that I have, and the only way I can focus is by writing my thoughts down. So I get up in the morning, and with my coffee, I'll spend half an hour, 45 minutes just writing my intentions, my thought process of like what was it that what I did, because there's a meanness sometimes about who I am as a human being, and it's a journey that I'm going through, and not because I want to be mean because I want to inflict pain on somebody. It's just meanness is just something that I grew up with, in that sense of, think for yourself, just protect yourself, basically. So all these things happen, and so sometimes I feel a little bit lost, and sometimes I feel like, oh wow, look, I'm fine. There's a very famous movie called Mera Naam Joker by Raj Kapoor, and if you actually watch that movie, there's behind that Joker who's making everybody else laugh, there's this huge conflict of the father. And I kind of feel that way. I mean, and I kind of feel sometimes like, my Mera Naam Vikram, like
have you always felt that way, or has there been a certain moment in your life that came to the forefront?
No, I've never felt that way. I've always felt like, oh, I can do it. I can deal with it. I'm going to deal with it. I have, in the last 2 years since COVID has happened, year and a half, I've gone through some changes in my life on a personal level that have just kind of hit me so hard, saying, are you ready for this? Are you willing to accept this as form of it? And the realization of like, well, you know what? This blue-eyed boy that you had everything going for him doesn't have everything going for him. He still needs to be a better human being. So I working on this myself has been a big part of my journey, especially in the last 1 year of it. And I'm not, by no means I'm saying that I've overcome him. You can't undo something that you've done for 55 years and just flick off the switch of a year, it changes. It's a journey, and I'm progressing towards it.
So it seems like there's a lot of demons then that you are facing that you're looking to overcome. Would that be the right way to put it, or?
I think demons would be a strong word. It would be more mental hinderness, that like somebody who got away with a lot of things in the past, be it in work or in relationships or anything else, has come to the forefront and said, no, enough is enough. You need to focus on yourself and heal yourself, and be part of this journey, and accept that yes, what you did was wrong, or what has happened is wrong, and focus on it and move on from it, because that part of the relationship is over because there was some mistakes made. But having said that, you can't stop living. So you need to just reflect, realize, and then move on.
I suppose the beauty of the platform that it is an open platform, so there's never any judgment there. But why don't you share a bit deeper then? Because you're saying it seems like a lot of allegory there, that we're saying mistakes were made, things were done. I suppose the question then is, what are some of the biggest regrets you have then?
So biggest regrets is people who have loved me unconditionally. That includes Miru and few other people without naming them. Miru I can, because she was my wife, at once wife, for 18 years. To hurt them, to walk away from those relationships based on oh, I need something more, I need something a little bit more exciting, and I need a little bit more drama in my life, like creating drama when there was no need to create drama. There was no need to. So it's like garnishing a plate, the plate is looking perfectly fine. It's all good, but then you need that little extra thing on top of the plate, and then suddenly the plate is like, it's messed up, you know. So and those are the things that I can honestly say that I've learned, and I'm learning to get away from it and reflect back and say, no, if I'm going to go on a relationship with you, then I'm going to be 100% honest and not just constantly having another person lurking around saying, okay, well, this person didn't work out, so let's just go there. And then that person didn't work out, let's just go there. You know, and I always give this analogy of like being on stage. You're performing, people are looking at you. But if you're going to miss your line, there's always a prompter that tells you what happens. And so these people have been part of my life who have been great prompters because they have been great supporters of me. And sometimes I've turned around and hurt them because the ego was bigger than their feelings, you know?
Yeah.
And so that realization of like, no, it's wrong, you know, is what I'm trying to get at. Basically, what I'm saying is I've hurt people and I've realized that I don't need to hurt people.
It's a very in-depth human thing to do, to actually address who we are as people beyond fame, fortune, you know, without fear of favor. And I suppose it's that humanness, that fragility that we all share is what makes us likable, you know. So run us through about your incredible career, because, you know, as you rightly said, a lot of people see you on TV. They've seen you on things like Dragon's Den, you know, the Canadian equivalent. They've seen you on cooking shows, food shows. But what's it like for you when you first started this journey? I know when we spoke on the phone, you said, look, Rajan, when you came to Canada, it was a very different space. The mindset that you had was not to stay here, but it's the fact that people gave you that big break. They took a gamble on you, but that gamble came on incredible humility on your side. Run us through that incredible career of yours.
Well, as a child growing up in India, I always wanted to be a Bollywood actor. You know, I always wanted to be the person who dances and everything else. And then, you know, when you're a little bit older and your father sits you down and says, no son of mine is going to become an actor, you know, your dreams get shattered because this is all you've done. You know, you've been, in German, we say a Schauspieler, a person who's always been a performer and has been told that you can't perform anymore. This is not what I'm going to allow you to perform, you know. So then you shift and then you go to Europe and to become a chef, and then you realize that your forte is food. You know, you've loved food, you've loved the passion of cooking and creating spices. You know, I mean, if you gave me 4 spices, I can cook you an absolutely delicious meal. If you gave me a nail and said, put it in this wall, I cannot do that because I'm not good at it, you know. Yeah. And so creativity came to me from putting, you know, food on the plate and trying cooking different things. But more importantly, it was the fact that I loved people. I loved performing for people. So I would, you know, at 5:30, the curtain would be drawn, the restaurant is open, and I would be out there performing and welcoming people and saying, you do this and you do that. And, you know, I was like this maestro who was, allowing the orchestra to flow at the restaurant. And at 10 o'clock, the curtains would be drawn and we would all just go back, you know, pick up a milk crate and sit in the alley and have a cigarette because the day was finished and it was over, and, you know, have a few scotches, a typical chef's lifestyle. And then I met Miru, who's an incredibly smart woman, born and brought up in the States. And, met her, have a beautiful journey of food. We built restaurants, we built an empire, basically, have 2 beautiful kids, daughters. And, you know, there was always turmoil in my mind. I always wanted to do more. I always wanted to be Vikram Vij. I wanted to be out there. I wanted to be, to be known. Whereas, you know, Miru was a humbling person. She bring you down and say, calm down, relax a little bit, don't fly too high. But there was a journey, and journey came to an end after 18 years of being married, 17 years of being married, because I felt stifled and I felt that I wasn't given the full I have full potential to reach this, and I wanted to go out and be the king of curry and all that stuff. And I continued working on that, on doing the food shows in Top Chef and Master Chef and not Master Top Chef and Dragon's Den and all those things, and continued working and building restaurants and empires of that style until it came to crashing last year, when a relationship that I was in fell apart and the restaurants completely shut down because of COVID. I mean, we are one industry that relies A, on people, B, it relies on the fact that people go out to eat.
Yeah.
And we were shut down because of that. And I always used to say, people always have to eat. People always have to, go out. So whether there is a death in the family, people go out. And if there is a happiness in the family, people have to go out to eat. So restaurants who serve good food and good service will always survive. And how wrong was I that this whole industry basically shut itself down, and we had to reinvent ourselves and go back to the drawing board and create, different menus, different styles, different things. So that journey has been an eye-opener in that sense, of like, boom, comes nature, comes God, and just slaps you around a little bit and says, oh my God, what happened here? You were flying so high, you were doing everything so good, and then it collapses you. And it's not just a financial burden. I think it's more of a burden of, the love and the respect that the people have worked with you for 20, 25 years to go back and say, sorry, I don't have any work for you anymore.
Yeah.
That emotional toll is very, very tough. But we've come out of it. We're going to come out of it. We have survived it, and we will continue surviving. I really have that strength that I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until my last day, that I can't push anymore.
Well, what is it that drives you now? Because obviously you've gone through this moment, this powerful moment in your life where now you're changing your perspectives, from relationships, the very core essence that validates who we are, not just in terms of finances, but our soul defining moments. And you almost had everything crashing down all at once, that you're having to reform it. But what is that new drive that's inside you? Why are you still looking to move? What is it? What is success to you, or achievement to you?
Well, it's a brilliant question. And what is it? I mean, what is the other option? To fold and go away? No, I can't. I do not leave a playground as a sore loser. I'm not going to walk away from it. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight till the time I get that love from the people back, that my curtain is drawn again. I don't want to be somebody who says, well, he used to be really good, but unfortunately he's not there. I'll change, I'll move. And the drive comes from, when you grow up in places like India, survival is, you have to continue surviving. You have to push through. I mean, it's the same analogy when I left India and I went to Europe to become a chef and went to a European school, and being brown skinned was completely not acceptable. Here you are learning French food and people would make fun of me and so what do you know? Like, I mean, you just add some spices to it, and it really used to bother me, because I have always believed that Indian food is a very complex cuisine of different flavors and different spices. And it became very important to me in my mind that I need to bring awareness to this cuisine. I need to bring people. I need people to understand that my food is not just a bunch of spices put together. That it's in the hands of the lady that's making it at home. That haath ki baat, that element of using. And so it became a goal, it became a vision. And when I think about it, I mean, what made Gandhiji decide that he wanted to come back to India and free India? What did Nelson Mandela decide to do that? It's because something happens to their life, some kind of an atrocity or some kind of unjust part happens to them that they take on this cause of fighting. My unjust was that I was never allowed to cook proper meals because I was brown, and I was only allowed to make salads and dressings and just staffed meals, even though I was as qualified as any other chef was there. But I wasn't allowed to because I was Indian, because I was brown. And that injustice is what makes you go out there and fight for your right to say, treat me equally, treat me with respect, treat me with... And so that journey of being wanting to be treated with respect and love and given the accolade is what drives you. And even today, I don't want people to know that, oh, Vij's didn't survive. I want people to know, no, Vij's did survive. Vij's did survive like any other great restaurant. And he didn't just fall down under the pressure, the buckle of... so that spirit of wanting to do something awareness-wise is what keeps me going.
And I think it's expression, isn't it? Your business is your expression. It's who you are. It's not a business for you. It's saying, this is my expression to the world, whatever it may be. This is me. Your relationship is your inner yearning expression. Say, I need to be validated, but recognized for something much deeper than what I feel. Everything it feels like in your life is this remarkable constant voyage of self-discovery, and you're going through that in totally different incarnations and anything, and whether it is food, the silent orchestras of the world, of the cuisines that go inside you, or it's the way that you speak, the way that you do things. Like when you look out now, this post-apocalyptic COVID era in which we find ourselves in, what do you see? What's that new Vikram that looks out, that's almost shedded his old skin to see this world of wonder?
I envision a more compassionate, a more understanding, more respectful, more not hoity-toity and flighty, or a person who constantly could do 10 things at a time, to take the step back and actually enjoy the view and the fruits of what you've done. That is the next Vikram's life. I'm 55 years old, and this is what I've been working towards, of saying, I don't need to slow down. I am not going to slow down. I just need to be more compassionate towards the people that come into my life. I don't need to juggle 8 balls. I'm okay juggling just 2 balls, but those balls are mine. There's no drops. There's no issues. There's no problems. There's no heartbreaks. There's no heartaches. There's no hurt for anybody, because you're comfortable just having this beautiful ball and juggling.
Yeah.
Not trying to do 8 things at the same time and dropping some balls somewhere and hurting somebody.
Are you hurt right now?
I am. I'm very hurt right now. I'm emotionally hurt. Because I didn't mean to hurt.
You don't want to be
hurt
misunderstood.
because I've been understood as somebody who meant to hurt. And I don't know whether, and I've done this thinking for a long time, I don't know whether it is more important to do something wrong and say, yeah, I did something wrong, move on, or to know that you didn't do something wrong and being accused or being told that you did something wrong, and because of that, what hurts more? I haven't figured that out yet. And maybe I need some more time to figure it out. Is it the fact that so if you do something wrong, let's say you're drinking and driving, you get caught for drinking and driving, you're like, I made a mistake, drinking and driving. Okay, I'll do my time. Is that worse? Or is it the fact that you were not drinking and driving, but you were accused of drinking and driving, and now you have a label on you saying that you're drinking and driving, whereas you were not drinking and driving? What is worse? I don't know. I haven't figured that out.
So you're saying, is it fair to be judged upon something that may be unconscious to you, that
Correct.
nobody else has made it as a conscious behavior to say, actually, you can pinpoint X, Y, and Z. So I am never that smart, I have to admit, so to break it down on my side, what do you feel that you have been accused of?
Of cheating on a person that I was meant, that I loved dearly in a relationship. And to be accused of that, not knowingly that, having friendships outside this relationship was acceptable or not acceptable. I didn't know that. Should I have known that? Of course I should have known that, but I didn't realize it. So there is an element of, I don't want to, I want it to be a little bit more, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but basically I feel accused of something that I didn't do, or I didn't know that I was doing wrong. But in hindsight, how could you have not known?
Because there's no rule book, is there? There's no, it's almost this social element of an untold expectation that you have to behave that way. But surely if it's an untold expectation, there lies the problem.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I feel. But the relationship is over, it's done. Don't need to harp on it, but it's like I was thrown under the bus when I didn't do anything wrong. Had it that I had done something, I would have quietly said, because that's the kind of strength you have in life. When you put out a dish at a restaurant and the dish becomes salty and you taste it, you think about it and you're like, yeah, you're right. The dish is salty. I'll make you another one or do something else, and you walk away from it. What hurts more is when somebody says to a perfect dish or a good dish says, I think there's too much salt in this dish. And you taste it and you're like, no, it's not. You become defensive, you become argumentative, you become like, no, my dish is perfect, right? That hurts more sometimes. I'm telling you, and as a chef, and it's the same thing. As a chef, you take things so personally at times that it becomes overwhelming. How much you harp over small details of it. And so that this is how I feel right now. So do I feel hurt? Yeah, I feel hurt. Will I get over it? Damn yes. I've come a long way from a year now to where I am today. I'm totally fine. I'm redating, I'm moving on, and I've passed on. I'm not by any means mulling over anything or being sad about it in that sense. But deep inside, there is like this hurt of like, I was accused of something that I didn't do, which will go away. It's a journey, it's a process, right? It'll go away. And
why is it identity to you? Because that's essentially what you're saying. You're saying everyone has the identity that we own, that we're in control of. And then there's another identity that almost everyone else throws upon you, these social expectations. So I suppose what I want to get to is, what does being free feel like to you? What does that mean to you, that sense of freedom?
Sense of freedom, I don't think I'm fully free. I don't think I'm free. I'm fully free to express myself. I'm fully free because I have a nose ring, a toe ring, I wear jewelry, I have earrings, I have, I'm able to express myself. I can wear, my scarves and everything else. But am I fully free? I don't think I'm fully free. I don't think I can be fully free because for 55 years, I've never lived fully free. I've always been dependent on something or somebody So freedom to express myself, yes. But freedom from my own demons, no, I haven't. So I'm not fully free, and that's where I want to go. I want to go that I want to be free of my demons. I want to be able to look inside myself and say, I am clean as a whistle now. What is my past is done, but I'm clean as a whistle. And that's a journey that's going to take some long time of talking to counselors, talking to people, talking to the ones who love you so much unconditionally, whether it's your kids, whether it's Miru, and saying, hey, listen, help me with this journey. The realization of the mistakes is the first step towards recovery, towards freedom. And so I am working towards it. But if Rajan asks me today, Vikram, are you free? I'll be like, I'm free to express myself, but I'm not free of my demons. And that's more important to me. I want to get rid of my demons. I want to get rid of my issues that I have had.
Because it's interesting, most people see you from the outside and they think that's the guy that has no self-doubt. That is the guy that we all want to be, we aspire towards. And it's a humbling moment, I think, for anybody listening in to say we all have the fragility that is a human form. It matters very little how much you have in the bank. Yeah, let's not get it wrong. Finances do help, but it matters in the bigger picture how much you have in the bank. What matters is you go to bed with yourself every single night. And how do you feel in that? How do you feel in terms of your experience of this life? Like, if you could go back and change anything that could have been, what would it have been? And when was that moment that you think,
I should have never left that house that Miru and I built together. 2012, I decided to walk away on a perfectly beautiful marriage because I was experiencing stifled by our arguments and our discussions. I should have never left that. And that moment was the wrong moment. And it was the wrong on the cricket pitch. And you say, what was that ball? And you get out on that ball, you can look back and say, why did I play that ball so badly? Why did I, what did I do wrong? And that is the moment, I would say, 2012, walking out on a marriage that was totally happy and hurting the three people whom I love the most, hurting them in the process, because of your own inability to make the right decision, and thinking that it was the right decision, and coming to a realization today in 2021 that it was like the worst decision you could have ever made.
Hindsight is a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah. Hindsight's not a bitch. Hindsight is a slap in your face. It's not a bitch. It's a slap in your face because it knocks you down and says, "Shut up! What the hell were you thinking?" At the moment you don't think that way, but
no.
It happened. And could I recreate it? No. Could I bring it back? No. Could I redo anything about it? No, I can't. I just have to learn to move forward. So we can't bring the COVID, times. That we can't. Those times are done. Yesterday is gone. So today is the only way we can improve upon yourself and focus on yourself. And that's where I am.
What's your advice to other, let's say, for example, couples, other people in relationships out there? You're looking back and thinking you've been there, and I suppose because you've been there and because you're so brutally honest about it, you're the best person that can actually give advice to say,
just reflect on what your actions are going to cause to the other person. Just reflect. Just think back before you do anything, before you think this relationship is over, before anything's happened. reflect back and think like what is it going to cause? How much hurt is it going to cause? What is it going to cause? And if at the end, I am not proposing that everybody should be together forever and ever. I mean, I think monogamy is bullshit sometimes. It's very tough to be 100% monogamous. But at least be honest, upfront and honest. And sometimes, and I say this specifically to people who have high achievements in their lives. People who achieve something in their lives sometimes have a tendency to wear the mantle of success, but inside they're kind of burning. Like if you think about it, Gandhiji lost his, he gave up Kasturba. He said, no, I don't want to. He became celibate. If you look at Nelson Mandela, such a beautiful part, but they separated because something eats them up inside. So just figure it out what it is, and hopefully you will make the right decision. So I'm not saying to anybody saying you should go through a relationship if you're unhappy in it. If you're genuinely unhappy, get out of there. Get the hell out of that place. Like if you're genuinely unhappy. But if there is a way to salvage it, then try to salvage. See what the effects of it are going to be. It's very important.
Do you think that there's a cultural aspect in the way that we've been taught how relationships are?
I think today India is far more advanced than my parents' generation, and the thinking process has changed, and that element of that my mom's going to be always be with my father has completely changed. And I love the fact that we have gender equality. I love the fact that India is, or North America, I don't live in India anymore, but I would hope that, India, because it's a country of my birth and I love it very much, would move towards more gender equality, move towards accepting others for who they are and not like boys and girls and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to take generations because it's been somewhere around, but it's moving in a very positive direction. And I'm very proud of everybody who believes in equality, and the fact that Kamala Harris is a vice president of one of the most strongest nations, and her origin and her mother being a single mother, I believe it's just fascinating to me. It's just absolutely amazing, and I'm so proud of her, or proud of every human being, every Indian mother, every Indian woman, everybody who's worked so hard at getting to where they are.
But coming back to it, do you think traditionally, the traditions of that as being people of Indian origin, do you think there's an element of the way that we treat relationships? Because is that a pressure valve in itself, that there's an expectation that as a wife, this is how you will behave? You're born out of pure luck in this country, in this color, but you'll be like this. And as a guy, man, you better believe it. This is how society is going to treat you. And do you think that is fair? Because obviously it seems that you've been on the back end of that, and now you've come to that conscious decision to say, I've now got the bandwidth and the breadth to actually reorganize and rethink, what does it all mean?
See, I mean, again, it's wrong to generalize and say.
Absolutely.
There are people in India who have a very beautiful, open, loving relationships, and there are people who have very closed-minded relationships. I would hate to generalize. And one of the things that I've learned in school or in college in life is this generalization of like, oh, this is a race and they do this. This is the reason why these people do this. It's not, because you don't know all of them. You don't know each and every one of them. And why should you generalize? So I've always brought it down and said, Vikram does this, Rajan does this, Manmohan does this, James does this, John does this, rather than
a
saying,
specific identity or cultural. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's how I was treated in school. That is how I was treated. It's like, oh, you're brown, so you wash the dishes, you know. Whereas they didn't know what background I came from. They didn't know anything about me in that sense. So that generalization is wrong. So I would revert back and say, no, I don't want to generalize and say this is what happens. All I say is my beliefs are every human being in this country or in this world should be given the same right. Every living creature, every plant, every tree. And I say, now that we are in 2021, let us make sure that no human being is ever discriminated for either the color of the skin or their beliefs, because we are all human. We are all
Yeah,
living beings.
absolutely.
So what I would tell people is communicate your feelings to the people that you love. You can see it in their eyes and you will feel it. Don't communicate, don't expect to communicate just by words on texting and everything else. Look in front of the other person. So my example, what I'm trying to give you is from our conversation on the phone to today is an example of look at that person's eyes, look into that person and say, do I love you? How much do I love you? What can I do for you? What can I do to enhance your life? And what can I do to make you a better human being and make myself a better human being? And I think that's my goal now. That's my journey. Apart from bringing awareness to my cuisine and my culture up, I think in Canada, we have achieved that goal. Now my path is I'm going to help the young chefs. I'm going to help the young women who are coming in place. I'm going to help the young people who want to do something in their lives. I want to be that father that's holding that child's hand and saying, just walk with me, you'll be safe. And that's
Why is that important for you?
Because somebody did that for me. Somebody did that for me. I mean, I've had so many mentors in my life who have supported me and guided me and helped me. And now my time has come to pass the baton of help and everything else to another generation, to talk about food, talk about cultures, talk about service, talk about all the great things in life.
Because your journey to food in Canada was through, from what I understand, a mentor, somebody that met you and took a massive gamble at that moment in time. Maybe run us through that part, because I think that is another part of the wonderful world of Vikram.
So you're cooking in Austria. You're in a kitchen, and a gentleman walks into the restaurant and wants to have something spicy. I'm the only brown guy in the kitchen. Kitchen chef makes fun of me, says, "Oh, you're the only brown guy. I'm sure you know how to make something spicy." So I took some goulash soup, which was a classic German, Hungarian paprika style soup. I took that and I put some onions and ginger and garlic, and I made it almost like a beef stew, but Indianized it. Sent it to this gentleman who was sitting there, and he loved it and he wanted to talk to me. So I thought I was going to get fired because I may have spiced up his food too much. So I go up to him, we start talking, and he looks at me and says, how old are you? And I said, I'm so-and-so, and what do you do? And I'm from India. And he looks at me and says, guys like you belong to Canada. You should be coming to Canada. And I'm like, Canada? Like, everybody in Europe wanted to go to the States at the time. Canada was just, why would you want to go to Canada? And he says to me, he says, no, you should come to Canada. It's a beautiful country. It's a great country for immigrants. It allows, people to be successful. And I'm like, okay. So I he gives me his card and I send him my resume. And 6 weeks later, I get an envelope with a one-way ticket and a 6-month visa to come to Canada. Because he saw the potential that I had as a young chef And he knew that I would be stifled in Austria because I wouldn't be allowed to go anywhere. And he plucked me out. So he was that mentor. He plucked me out and gave me that helping hand that I came to Canada and I could express myself. And I came, and here we are, all these 27 years later. So what I'm saying is the reason why it's important for me to pass the baton is because somebody held my hand 27 years ago and gave me this beautiful life. And I want to pass that baton on to them down the road. Whoever that child may be, whoever that kid may be, whoever that person may be, or there could be many of them. And we have helped many of them. So the journey of Vikram Vij as an immigrant into this country is very passionate. Apart, what you have accomplished financially is something totally different. That's not the point. Point is, what have you accomplished emotionally? And that is my journey.
It's not what you get, it's who you become, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a incredible conversation. I told you, it was brutally honest and open, but something that is reflective for all of us. I suppose we can all learn from the deeper discussions that Vikram had, whether it is having a look at our own relationships, or even taking a plunge into saying, well, those people that helped us push us onto our careers. It's a lovely humanistic story that I think everybody can feel attached to. Now, I like to always say, if you have a story that you would like to tell, because after all, this is your platform equally, feel free to reach out to us. It couldn't be easier. Simply go to our website, which is www.globalindianseries.com, where you can find out the entire repertoire of conversations so far, but also you can touch base and let me know what's it like to be you. I would love to hear from you, and who knows, you too may also be a guest on here. Until next week, I hope all remain safe. Take care for now.